Hi, it's Jake with Twigs Nursery. We're doing another tutorial today. This is for our very best-selling bonsai trees. This will cover all of our bonsais: the dragon bonsai, the green willow bonsai, the exotic bonsais, basically all of them. Bonsai is really just a form of nurturing a plant. It's a form of trimming and caring for a plant. So you can almost turn anything into a bonsai, but willows work very, very well. And we've had a lot of success with them. So a lot of the same things apply from our other tutorials with our willows. When you receive your package, it'll come in a bag, either a white or a black bag, and you'll pull out your bonsai trunk. Really is what this is. It's pretty thick. It's thicker than our normal ones, and we've actually usually will include an extra for you. These cuttings are about 8 to 12 inches long, pretty thick and hardy, and they're fresh cuttings. Depending on when you ordered, you're going to receive ones that are moist. The paper towel may be moist, or it may be dry. If it comes dry, do not worry. That just means that either the time of year meant that we didn't need to put that much water on the paper towel. If it was in the winter, we didn't want that to freeze, and the start is dormant. Or in the summer months, it may have arrived wet or dry to you, but it still has moisture inside the stalk. So don't worry. That is not an indicator of a bad product or that you received it dead. The other thing is when you do open these packages, sometimes they do stink a little bit. We try to package them as moist as we can, depending on the time of the season of the year, but it will have an odor and may also have some moss. And that moss does not harm the start in any way. It's not going to harm your little bonsai. It actually can promote root growth, but if it bothers you, you can spray it down with hydrogen peroxide. So the first step to do is to take the paper towel off and then to put this start in water. I'm showing you right now a glass of water, a jar of water, but it's better to put it in a pot of water. So a dark container is the best way to do it. Roots don't like light, they don't like sunlight, and so we've had a lot of customers put their starts in a clear jar, and even though they still survive, it's probably not as good. They're not having as great of results as if they did it in a dark pot. So we would recommend you put that in a dark pot. The other thing is people will receive these in various stages. So I want to kind of show you some examples here. We've got, here's a corkscrew willow. We also sell these as a bonsai. If you can look on this has got some roots here at the bottom. These roots, your start may come with some roots, which is great. That means you're ahead of the game. Or it may not. It may arrive with some leaves and no roots. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes the start will come with roots first. The roots will pop on, the leaves will pop on and the roots don't come till later. You never know. And if you can zoom up on this, you can see these little white nubs. These are the beginnings of your roots for your bonsai. And people will see these and say, oh, some kind of weird growth is happening on my bonsai. That is actually a good thing. That's your roots coming in. They start off with just these little white pimples. So the point is, there's really no way to know exactly. It's not an exact science. However you receive your bonsai, the point is get it in water as soon as possible. And we like to say about halfway up. I mean, we need a little more water in this jar to show you accurately, but we like to see water about halfway to 2/3 up, and for all that to become roots. So keep that in the water for 2 to 3 weeks, or until you get some good roots. Let me grab you an example of some good roots here. So here's a good example of one that's pretty much ready. This is probably like a 2 or 3 week old rooter. We could probably keep it in for 1 more week or so, but it's about ready to plant. And so what we want to do is you want to get your pot, and this is a big pot here. Sometimes these bonsais I like to start in a little bigger pot, but you can start them in a smaller one. I'll show you later. They sell specific bonsai pots that are porcelain and really, really beautiful. you can always transplant them into those. I like to start it off just to get maximum growth, because the goal with a bonsai is to get as much growth as you can so you can snip and shape it how you want it. You can't do anything until it's growing. So the point is to first get it growing. So as we go to plant this thing, we want to kind of get the soil a little bit wet here. Just kind of get some water on it so that we can dig a hole here. Make a hole deep enough to cover all the roots, okay? Now they've got special bonsai soils. I think that's pretty gimmicky. Soil is soil. As long as you get some good dirt, garden dirt, it should be good. No fertilizer, no weed killer, no Miracle Grow. Some of these bonsai soils have special fertilizer in them, which are not good for these willow bonsais. So we just recommend standard, good, fertile soil. You know, you can get that at Home Depot or Lowe's. And just make sure the start goes all the way in the hole. Make sure that it's completely covered. And then you can see none of the roots are touching the soil yet. And I'm just gently backfilling, gently backfilling. Careful not to hurt those roots. If you hurt a couple, it's all right. And then you want to go ahead and douse it with water. And you want to keep this heavily watered every day. Every day it needs water. You want to have this moist every day. Now, as I'm putting water on this, you can see the soil starts to compact. And people will just walk away and say, we're good. Well, you really probably should like backfill it a little more, cover those roots up, be careful, carefully pack it in, and then give it some more water. Now, as long as you're watering this every day, you should, in a few weeks, get something like this. Now, I put this one in a smaller, container, but keep that water coming. Make sure it's got good drainage in the container, and pretty soon you're going to have a lot of this coming up. And we get comments all the time. These are so big, it's just so unruly. I don't know what to do. This is exactly how you want it. This is exactly what you want. You want these big leaves, big branches. This is how you can start trimming it into what you want. We've got a lot of supplemental tutorials on our YouTube channel where you can look at how to cut a bonsai, how to shape it. I'm just going to show you the basics here. Basically what you want to do is, oh, and before I do that, I want to also tell you about sunlight. So lots of water, lots of sunlight. You know, the first few weeks as it's in that earlier state, you want to keep it indirect sunlight, not direct sunlight on it, because that can actually kind of burn it up. So make sure it's getting sunlight, but not direct. I mean, if it gets a few hours of direct every day, that's fine. But sitting out baking in like the Arizona sun, for instance, you know, or we send down to Florida and they say, oh, they just baked, my bonsai's baked. You know, these really are meant to be inside trees. So if you just kind of put it by your window and let it have some indirect sun, that's gonna be great. All right, now we're talking about cutting and shaping. So you wanna take some of these, first of all, bonsais are gonna have a trunk on the bottom and then stuff's gonna start growing out the sides. So the first step is really to get rid of some of this lower growth. Just wanna chop it off, and don't be afraid to chop things. The good thing about these willows and all the bonsais that we sell at Twigs Nursery is they grow fast. So don't be afraid to trim. And so I'm getting all of these branches that are really kind of making it look like a bush. The first stages of a bonsai is you really want it to start to look like more like a broom almost. You know, you want a thick trunk and then lots of bushy things coming out the top. So we're getting rid of all these lower branches. We're just chopping them off. And then I've done a little pre-wiring here. You can get wire anywhere. They've got special bonsai wire, but they also have, you can use like really thick speaker wire. You wrap it around. Again, our supplemental tutorials will teach you more about wiring. But the neat thing about wiring is you wrap it around, you get some of the thicker stalks that we've left here. I'm gonna kind of hack this one down too, because it's getting kind of big. And then you can go ahead and you can bend these how you want them. This is the cool thing, is while it's still green, they're very flexible. So you can shape this how you want. You move the wire around to kind of bend it how you want. So you can get, the idea of a bonsai is to make it look like the wind's kind of sweeping it. So each one of these stems, You know, now this is going to take off more stems over here, and you're going to bend it however you want. This is the neat thing, is it's an art form. You can shape it how you want, you can cut it how you want. The great thing is that it just keeps growing. This thing will grow like mad as long as you keep giving it water. One other thing that we hear about is, man, I've got these leaves and they're so big. I want them to be little leaves, teeny little leaves. Well, the way to get little leaves is to give it more sunlight. So, and to also cut off some of these big ones. So what happens is, see how this leaf is a lot bigger than this leaf down at the base. The base leaves are smaller. So it's often good to take off some of these bigger leaves, and that forces smaller leaves to grow down here. And it's explained better in the other YouTube tutorials we've got on our channel. But it's an art form. You can do it how you want. And the neat thing about these is anybody can do it. You know, you don't have to be a horticulturalist. There's no wrong way to do it. And there's really no way to mess it up. If you accidentally cut one of these off and you said, oh no, I didn't mean to do that, wait a few weeks. Another branch will grow and you'll be fine. Keep it watered, keep good sunlight on it, and start pruning it and have fun. Thanks.